the 5S event. What is an event?
It's like you have a specialist who's been trained in 5S, and then you build a team together, a small team, mostly like managers, things like that, and you have the specialist train them and what they're supposed to be doing, and they go out and implement it with their individual teams and their groups, and they have to basically go through and do these 5S's. Like you start out with sort, and what that means is they go through, and most of the places that these are implemented, it's usually really messy, haphazard, things like that. So what they do is they go through their entire workstations and they sort everything into things like, all right, this goes together with this goes together with this, things like that. They get everything like that. Then they move on to set and order, which means they designate specific places where things are supposed to be kept. So all these tools go with this machine, so we'll make specific places for all these tools. And this trash can always has to stay right here, things like that. That's what set and order means. Then you move on to shine, which means you overhaul the your entire department in terms of cleanliness. You want to make sure everything's clean, everything is always neat. That's where the specific areas for the trash cans, things like that come in. Because if you have a dirty workplace, one, it's going to be harder to get worked on because it might take you a long time to find things. And two, it's just not good for business because it just looks terrible. So you make sure everything's clean and that keeps everything nice and orderly. Then you standardize, which means you set up procedures for everything that would have to be done within the individual step. You make sure that no matter what person comes on, whether they're the first shift, third shift, whatever, whoever comes on, everyone's doing that step exactly the same way to make sure you're always putting out the same exact product. And then sustained it's actually everyone's part is the sustained part it's the worker's job to make sure they keep doing that and stay up to date with all the things that they've been learning. And it's the manager's job to stay on top of those workers and make sure that everything that they've just implemented with this 5S thing, because they can be pretty costly. It's their job to make sure that everyone keeps doing this and everything stays the way it's supposed to be by implementing this. It's very easy to organize all this and then just start not putting things where they belong, and then you're just back to square one again.
So what was more difficult, understanding the problems or using agreement?
Last year was a huge baptism under fire for us. We had never used it before. They're like, here, use this. We're like, okay. So we eventually figured out how to use it and stuff like that. But because of last year's initial thing, this year we would have jumped right into it and just go right into the problem because we knew how to use Arena. But because of all the ambiguities and confidentiality things that they had to include, some of the things with this problem were so hard to understand. I mean, Professor Fulton was our faculty advisor with this, and there were some things even she was like, I have no idea why they put it like that. Like there were so many questions. Like there was actually a point where they said you can submit any questions to us, and we'll organize them all and answer them for you. And there were some questions that all they told us were things like just make assumptions or like, assume the best or assume the worst. So there were a lot of times where understanding the problem was really difficult.
Did you keep track of your assumptions somewhere?
Again, I think we did. I think we organized them all into our report that was submitted. I mean,
you were given, I think you mentioned you were given process times for each of the different processes. Were you also given travel time?
No, actually, it was a flat-out statement in the problem that travel times should be completely ignored, and that blew us away. Because travel times are usually a huge thing in factories, and people asked repeatedly, like, what about travel times? And all we were told was just completely ignore transportation and travel time, things like that. We were actually really surprised by that.